Drinks Coach. Yes, it's me again. It's Joe Wad in the house. You look, just in the corner there. It's almost off shot there, actually. The YouTube Drinks Coach UK TV. You're watching this now on my on my YouTube channel, Drinks Coach. Anything pertaining to anything that I do, please contact me on Instagram or Twitter using @Vinesack, all lowercase, Vinesack. Or if it's pertaining to this channel, or you want to learn about something wine specific, then on the lower case, it's all Drinks Coach UK there. You can see in the back, you can see that, can't you? I don't know how that's going to show. Probably better on a 40-inch telly than on a iPhone 15. So there we go. So I can see myself in shot, recording using the selfie camera. That's good. Try and find different ways to make this channel look right. So we just posted Majestic, and the next thing up, Waitrose. So we had 7 wines at Majestic that I wanted to talk about, which wasn't quite enough to split into 2 shows. We do have 9 from Waitrose, so I will split this and make 2 slightly shorter episodes. Spin it out, keep a few things back, create some suspense like you're watching, I don't know, For the Good of Mankind or something, but no, it won't be like that. So we're going to do the white wines, the rosés and the fizz in this one, and they're going to do red wine and fortified in tomorrow's show. So what do we have here? Well, I'll just pull up the prices so we don't get anything wrong. We've got 2 whites, a rosé and a sparkling wine. What can I say about Waitrose's press tasting? Okay, if you had money to spend, there was just genius shit. There was just incredible wines. You could buy some really world-class second growth Bordeaux's and Burgundies and what have you. There was some really special stuff and some extremely nice fortifieds too. We'll go on to one of those tomorrow, which I think is the bargain of the lot. But I did get the feeling they kind of went, oh, well, we spent every Christmas trying to compete with Lidl and Aldi because everyone expects you to, but that's not what we're good at. We're good at that in the known value items. I mean, if you buy the Waitrose known value item basket, as it's known, KVIs, Waitrose is remarkably competitive, even against companies like that. But when it comes to doing wine, they do wine better when they're allowed free reign to buy some slightly posher stuff. So that's what they've done. I think that there were noticeably fewer interesting wines under £10, but once you got over £10, things got very interesting indeed, and that's where we're at. Okay, so let's talk about the wines as we go along. The first one, everyone knows how much I like White Rhône. White Rhône is my thing. I've been drinking so much of this year. Please go on YouTube and look up Roaming the Rhône. Is it Roaming something? But just on YouTube, I did a couple of shows, or 3 shows. We did 4 whole shows with Andrew Sheridan, elite sportsman and former number 8 in the second row for Toulon, and also my friend Libby Brody, who is larger than life, sounds like Mariella Folstrup, looks like she owns a Harley Davidson, and she's just great fun. So we did this talk together and did these shows about what makes the Rhône special, and it was about Côtes Rhône, it was about Côtes Rhône Village, but there was talk and consumption of white wines too. But I think specifically, when you look at how little white wine is made in the Rhône, I think it's something under 10% still. It is some of the best value white wine in the whole of France. You've got wines with complexity, freshness, weight and body, but not the confusion of oak. You know, it doesn't... Once you start putting wine in wood, you're either doing it to flavour the wine or you're doing it to make the wine age better. And sometimes it's not obvious what you're trying to achieve. So you don't know whether you're going, is this good? Is it going to taste better if I keep it? Unoaked Côtes Rhône from 2022, delicious. But it's also delicious in 21 and 20 and 19. And it ages in a linear and very exciting and very sophisticated way. And one of the reasons for that is there are so many fantastic grape varieties that you can blend down there. You end up with a kind of a situation where the wine, as it gets older, certain different varieties pop their head up and it's their turn to sing a verse kind of thing. Well, this is from Gabriel Meffre. I know the packaging isn't particularly sexy, but we have to give Gabriel Meffre credit where credit's due. Gabriel Meffre put Gigondas on the map back in the day after the Second World War. I think it was 1949. Gigondas, which used to be called Côtes Rhône Village Gigondas, got its own cru appellation. And these guys make an awful lot of wine in that district, a lot of Côtes du Rhône, a lot of Côtes du Rhône Village. They also make some superb white wines. And this wine is Côtes du Rhône Saint Vincent 2022. And it's made from largely Grenache Blanc. All Côtes du Rhône is. Grenache Blanc is a variety which I think I've described in the past as tasting like an apple pie. It's kind of soft and appley, generous, sometimes a little bit of cinnamon spice in there. But then on top of that, we've got equal parts really, or roughly equal parts of, so let's say it's 50% Grenache Blanc, and then you've got about 15% Viognier, which is very aromatic and peachy. We had one from Majestic yesterday, which sort of was absolutely typical of the kind of Viognier that would have gone into this blend. Then we've also got Roussanne. Roussanne is the matriarch or the patriarch of white Northern Rhône varieties. It has structure, backbone, massive extract. If you ever get a chance to drink Hermitage Blanc, you'll see these are beasts. But they have cuts. They have as the great Hugh Johnson once described, they have cut. They have freshness to them. And the Roussanne gives this kind of polish and steeliness to the whole blend. We've also got Clairette. Clairette is, I always describe it as like an origami animal. It has presence and detail, but when you pick it up, it's very light, it's empty. And Clairette isn't about aroma and power, it's about texture. It kind of inflates the drink, it fluffs it up a little bit and gives it a softness and an entry. When I think Clairette, I think of a foaming bubble bath for some reason, because it's there, it's effortless cut through. And then there's a little bit of Bourboulenge as well. Bourboulenge is a very, very spicy, great variety. So Grenache Blanc, Roussanne, Viognier, Clairette, Bourboulenge. What's it going to taste like? Well, with all that sort of stuff in there, it should have something to say for itself, shouldn't it? So let's have a look. Now, you can buy Côtes du Rhône, and perfectly quaffable Côtes du Rhône. I would like to strongly put up as an exhibit A Malud. Taste the difference. Côtes du Rhône white from Sainsbury's, very good, about 9 quid, 8 quid, something like that. But also Cellier de Dauphin, which is the largest production Côtes du Rhône white there is, made from 18 or 20 different co-ops all mixed together. So here we're talking about something which is a cut up from there, a level up, but it's 12 quid, okay, so it's 12 quid, it's not under a tenner, but we're now looking at a wine that would cost the same as buying something from a single estate. The Gabriel Meffre is not a single estate, but have access to very high quality fruit. So here we're trading on Gabriel Meffre as a brand, a bit like Penfolds does, but not on the single estate. I was kind of hoping for good things when I tasted this wine and smelt it, and in my head I know exactly what I'm expecting for £12, and that's why it's in this lineup today. It's so sophisticated. It's only 12.5% alcohol, by the way, which is nice because the grapes are fully ripe. First thing I smell is a latence of spice, a little bit like a little honey, like beeswaxy honey smell. There's a touch of white pepper, maybe, something that just makes your nose tingle a little bit. Then underneath that, there's this cool, fresh draw of almost like fresh pineapple juice, fresh pear juice. Nothing too gregarious and exotic, but it has a very stylish, integrated mix of different aromas and flavours. A little bit spicy, a little bit cool. Certainly doesn't smell uber hot, and we all know how hot the Côtes du Rhône can be. I mean, down there it gets 40 degrees in summer, but it doesn't say that at all. The Clairette jumps into view, starts opening the thing up. It's almost like pulling the curtains, so it opens the drink. There's a little spice, a little funk even maybe, a little natural funk in there, which I don't mind. And then on the end you've got this lingering apricot tang, this dry apricotty acidity and flavour, which is very, very attractive indeed. And this is a wine that's really, really grown up. I mean, you can have this with all sorts of things, but what would I have with it? Almost certainly some jambon blanc, some Bayonne ham, some French, or not French, if we're in England, do as we do, a nice slice of Wiltshire ham or Hampshire ham with some Cumberland sauce, maybe in a sandwich and a white bloomer. This would be the perfect wine to drink with that. Also, I imagine do very well against a fish curry. Some toasted sauteed prawns, maybe, if you did it as a canapé. And I wouldn't I wouldn't rule it out against some nice cheese as well. So we did Stilton tarts, that kind of thing. White wine is much safer than going with red wine, believe it or not. But there you go. 12 quid of anybody's money, I think. That's rather good. So this wine, I'm not going to open this. Because I noticed, as I took it out of the freezer, it's the wrong vintage. But I will tell you all about the wine. This is Craggy range Martinborough Sauvignon Blanc. The wine that you want to buy and the wine that should be available is 2023. That's what's in store. And by the way, it's also available in Majestic, the show yesterday. Give you some sort of idea. This is $16.99 a bottle. So we're talking about premium Sauvignon Blanc. This is at the pre-fume end of pricing. If you buy it from Majestic, I think it's $18.99. But if you buy it in a Mix 6, it's $15.99. So it's cheaper than this. So you either pay more or less for it in Majestic, depending on how you go about things. And put a pin in the donkey, it's £1 dearer if you buy it here at Waitrose than the Mix 6, or £2 cheaper if you're buying the single bottle. So it's the same price. If you work that out in your head, they're just messing with the pricing and the marketing. But this is a wine made at maybe, I can't really, it'd be wrong maybe to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway, the Penfolds of New Zealand. They have estates all over. They have wineries all over. They even have built a very specific winery in Marlborough to make sure that some of the fruit, particularly the Sauvignon Blanc, gets to it in a hurry. And it's not a million miles away from here, so they send that there as well. But this is made in a vineyard which is called Tamuna, or mostly it comes from the vineyard. It's called Tamuna. And the founding winemaker at Craggy Range is owned by a wealthy family. A lot of fun, by the way. Mr. Peabody, how are you, sir? Remember good times. We've had some fun together at various seminars in Wellington. But he used to employ a man called Stephen Smith. Stephen Smith, Master of Wine, is incredibly erudite, very charming, very knowledgeable. And he was the one that planted this vineyard next to vineyards which I think it was Chris McKenna, Paul McKenna at Martinborough Vineyards used to have planted some vineyards there, and it was one of the first great Pinot Noirs in New Zealand. New Zealand, so you know, is one of the few countries that very convincingly does Pinot Noir outside France. Although that's changing now. You've got some good ones in South Africa, certainly got some very good ones in Germany, some in California, etc. But this was right back in the old days, and we hear about Central Otago Pinot Noir. We hear about Marlborough Pinot Noir, but Martinborough is a region which is quite different, but produced a very, very stylistic, characterful Pinot Noir, which really speaks of the region. I'm talking about the wines from Craggy Range, and of course Palliser Estate also makes beautiful, beautiful Pinot Noir. And this is a wine that is a little riper, a little less zippy and electric light bulb that Marlborough Sauvignons can be. They're almost nettily. It's like, was a bit too brutal sometimes. Not exactly the kind of thing you want to have first thing in the morning. These are more generous. They're more creamy, but they have this incredible profound fruit. And I'm sure the 2022 is very good. I shall ask them if they want the bottle back. But the 2023, which is what I was hoping to get, which was in the press tasting, just saying right now, this came from Waitrose Cellar as 2022. So maybe hold off a week before the 2020 arrives. But it is available in Majestic already. It tastes like just amazing. Like you've been like a grenade full of guava and pink grapefruit and pomelo. It tastes like a pomelo daiquiri just went off in your mouth. And then you're left with this textural, stylish, very, very premium, rather light Central Loire whites, creamy Sauvignon Blanc. And it's an absolutely delicious wine at $16.99. I can't think of a better Sauvignon Blanc in the world right now than 2023. Yes, you heard it. That vintage is already in bottle. Martinborough Sauvignon Blanc from Craggy Range. Very, very good wine. But do buy it from Waitrose because they're the one that sent me the bottle. Unfortunately, it's just the vintage from last year. And I know for a fact this wine's fantastic and it is lovely. I just don't want to mislead people by describing this over the characteristics of 2023. 2022, by the way, was one of the greatest all-time vintages of Sauvignon Blanc. So if you get it, please don't worry. It's going to be fantastic. And I will be drinking this with a plate of, I don't know, probably, I love it with pesto or Thai green curry. Okay, moving on. So we've got a £12 Côtes Rhône Blanc, which was sophisticated to the max. We have a very sophisticated south of the North Island Martinborough Sauvignon Blanc made by Craggy range, which is very, very fine. I don't really know what to say beyond that, other than Martinborough is probably the most interesting and characterful of all the regions that we don't really talk about in New Zealand. So that's very, very good. So that leaves us with 2 more for this quick episode. How are we doing for time? Oh, really 15 minutes in. Okay, so, yeah. I was determined to pick out one bottle of wine that might stop you. Yes, you know who you are. That one there, sitting there, who thinks that Whispering Angel is a good time. Well, it's not. Whispering Angel was good when it first started 7 years ago, when they made 70,000 bottles a year. They're now making 8.5 million bottles a year, and it's shit, okay? So I'm just telling you, rather than spending £20 on Whispering Angel, go to Château Berne. This is Château de Berne. You can see it's a very strange bottle. It's square, like a bottle of perfume, which might put some of you off. But what I do like about rosés in general is that people are prepared to experiment with the packaging. And there is a wine above this, which I did in the very first wine show I did ever on this channel, which was called UP, or Ultimate Provence, which comes in a bottle which is so beautiful and so Etruscan that my kitchen's full of them, my bedroom's full of them, my bathroom's full of them. Every bath salt, every olive oil has its own bottle. I just can't bear to throw them away. I think I could probably throw this bottle away, though, although the contents are absolutely delicious. Rob and Tanya, if you're out there, my friends who live in Mallorca, we sat in an inflatable hot tub in the sun when they were building their house and drank a 3-litre bottle of this. It's a massive bottle. And it was an experience. But what I wanted to tell you about here is that there are really, really good Côtes de Provence wines out there that are not Whispering Angel, and they cost less and they're better quality. Stephen Cronk out there, Miraval, Château Leube, owned by Dalesford Organic. That's an expensive little outfit, but their wines still manage to be cheaper than Whispering Angel. So all I'm saying is Whispering Angel deserves its place in the pantheon of wines that have changed the world. It does. But if I see one more person spending £35 on a bottle of rosé in a Young's pub around the corner, thinking they're actually getting something of value, I don't know what to say. This is $15.99. It's made from Shiraz. It's made from Cinsault and Grenache. The Ultimate Provence's big brother has a little bit of Roller in it as well, which is a white wine called Valentino in Italy. But this is a good example of many 2022 rosés from Provence, which are quite delicious. And if you're a Whispering Angel head, please find the courage just to go off-piste a little bit, because there's a whole raft of great wines behind that brand, which cost at least a fiver, in some cases 7 or 8 quid less. Even in a shop, in a pub, you're probably talking 15, 20 quid less. And this is the one that I've picked for you. It's covered in gold medals as well. But this is 2022 Côtes de Provence. It just hits you. It's like somebody has got a garlic press and is squeezing strawberries into your glass. Absolutely gorgeous amount of strawberries. Hints of fluffy raspberry as well. The acidity is just right. These wines aren't known for their acidity, but they very much trade on the fact there's enough there to balance the wine out. This wine is soft and gentle and refreshing. Doesn't give you acid reflux because it's essentially a red wine, not a white wine. And I would pick this for the great rosé to go with smoked salmon, with your prawns, with your canapés. If you're doing anything Swedish with dill and mayonnaise and stuff, this is absolutely delightful with that. So yeah, Waitrose, Château de Berne, $15.99. I don't imagine this is going to see tomorrow. This is probably going to be served up with my dinner tonight. It's really, really good. Okay, really good. So, coming to the last wine of this show. It's 19 minutes. Good. It's nice and short, this show. And hopefully we shall be done in 3 minutes. Not only do I think that package is very, very stylish, but the contents are astonishing. I no longer work at Waitrose. The senior buyer for champagne certainly no longer works there. Dee Blackstock, Master of Wine. And she was particularly fond of this particular wine. And this was a wine that has been sold for well over maybe 2 decades from this estate. And it's from Les Rissés. Les Rissés is a cru in the south of Champagne where a lot of the red wine comes from to make rosés. In fact, they use that as the taché or stain in the wines of more repute, things like Bilcar Salmon and stuff. Some of the finest rosés use Pinot Noir from Les Rosés to colour the wine, to make it pink. This is Blanc de Noir from Alexandre Bonnet, not to be confused with Ferdinand Bonnet. F. Bonnet used to be a part of Charles Heidsieck and P&C Heidsieck. This is a single estate in the Rosé. And from time to time, because it's a small single estate and they sell virtually everything to Waitrose anyway, from time to time they just nail it. Okay, they just get it right. And in a time when champagne from supermarkets now costs pushing £30, even from places like Tesco, you're looking at mid-20s for something decent. This is the one. This is the Christmas bargain. I spoke to a friend of mine who writes the Telegraph, and we both said, just couldn't believe how good this wine is. But this is effectively 100% Pinot Noir. I don't think it's Meunier in there. But this is Waitrose own label Champagne Blanc de Noir, coming to you at $26.99. So it's not a giveaway, okay? You still have to pay proper money, the kind of money we used to pay for things like Rhône, Perrier and Moet not many years ago. It's very important to remember that almost any champagne you ever drink, no matter how flash the label, they all cost the same amount of money to make, pretty much, generally. The only difference is how much you paid for the soil in the first place, or how prestigious that soil is now for sale on. So when you look at things like, I don't know, Château d'Ambonnet or Clos du Mesnil, which are two single estate wines from Krug, for example, and you're having to pay £500 or £800 a bottle for it, there are people out there that will do that and they'll enjoy it. And I've tasted those wines and they are very close to perfection, so that's great. But a perfect champagne still doesn't make £800 feel right, okay, unless you've got money that you simply can burn by the wad. If I had my money and I wanted to buy a bottle of champagne this Christmas, I have tasted lots of champagnes, and the ones that stood out, that really, really stood out, was H. Blin from Adnams. Go back and watch the Adnams show. They did 2012 vintage, which was absolutely delicious. And this wine at $26.99, Waitrose own label Blanc de Noir. What can I say? If I didn't know, and I do taste and judge a lot of sparkling wines, if I didn't know who this was or what it was, I would have assumed it was a £50 wine plus. It has body. When the wine hits you in the mouth, it grows in concentration. It has perfectly balanced acidity. It's got a lovely wintry digestive note, which implies that it, or at least you can infer from those flavours, that this is, in fact, very much a Pinot Noir driven wine. As I'm talking, flavour is coming off my tongue while I'm talking to you. And I've been talking to you for several seconds since drinking this wine, and it's just the bollocks. It's absolutely fantastic. So there you go. This is champagne of Christmas, I think, along with Adnams, which is, if you want a more effortless party fizz, then maybe that's your one. But they're both similar money. I think they're both worth £26. But they're giant killers, trust. Do you fancy coming back and look at some reds tomorrow from Waitrose? Yeah? See you there, it's a date.